Hey.
Hi there.
Oh, what's going on?
All right. Hey, Sandy. Welcome back.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Hey, Calvin.
Hey,
what's
Calvin.
up? Mikey, what's up, man?
Yay.
Yeah, I felt like I didn't belong my whole life. It was my family. Well,
well,
welcome.
You belong here. Welcome.
Hi, Darren. How are you doing? Welcome. Hi, Mike. Long time no see. How are you doing?
Mike was in
I know. That's why I was joking.
Oh, yeah.
I was joking. I just saw you. And it turned out they weren't real family.
Yeah.
I know how that goes. Oh, I got to edit something. Hey, Calvin. What's up?
Oh! Yeah, it's the people we possess.
Oh, Hexxus?
Hexxus. Hexxus.
I can't spell, guys.
What's going on?
If it isn't the demon and the goat head. I'm not a goat, thank you.
I am the practitioner of the real voodoo.
It is. It's a deer head, thank you.
It's a Wendigo.
I am a Wendigo.
I am a demon. And I got semen. Okay.
That reminds me.
What's going on here?
Trigger warning.
Is there for this one?
Yeah. Also, this video contains super awesome content not suitable for people who don't enjoy super awesomeness. Viewer discretion is advised. The related content may be disturbing to some individuals, and under the Fair Use Act or law, another author may make limited use of the original author's work without asking permission pursuant to 17 U.S. Code 107. Certain uses of copyrighted material for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research is not an infringement of copyright.
Roughly, about 2,000 years ago, I possessed this guy. And, got some nails in him and stuff like that.
Stop.
And,
hey, Sven!
Hey, Sven!
And yes, it's pronounced Winnebago. Thank you.
The Black Forest ham.
All the Black Forest hams. And I just wanted to remind you guys, don't be a skunt.
Don't be a skunt. So anyway, so about 2,000 years ago, I possessed a guy, started the thing called a cult. And that's what we're getting into today. We're getting into cults. And what are we doing today? We
are talking about...
Wait. Hey, dog. Tell him, Liz, dog. Who are we talking about today?
What do you have next going on?
What do you got next going on this episode?
What's going on next?
No, we are talking about Ron
Lafferty.
Yeah. And
I tried to save it just now. For some reason, it would not save.
Now, I don't know too much about this guy. This is going to be mostly a call and me just being me.
So, apparently it's snooping on us.
Oh.
So, we're going to have some horrible.
All right. Yeah.
Ads. All right. So,
it's being tricky.
We're going to talk about Ron Lafferty.
There it goes.
And today, the majority of our information is going to come from grunge.com. We're going to be doing a whole series on different cults. I know there's a few people in here that either grew up in a cult or have experience with such. And none of them are the Red Whore.
Or they want to join our cult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a certain...
We accept everybody if you want to join our cult. No joke.
There's a certain red person who claimed to be born of a cult. Let me tell you guys right now, she was not.
She was not.
Anyway, we're going to talk about Ron Lafferty and his brother Dan. So Ron Lafferty was a self-professed prophet who, after being excommunicated from the Mormon Church, started a fundamentalist splinter group called School of Prophets with his 5 brothers, according to True Crime Daily.
So is this like the School of Hard Rock or something like that?
Hard something.
Hard knocks.
Hard drugs.
Hard drugs. Do they do hard drugs?
We'll find out.
You know, I created drugs. I gave hard drugs to humanity.
Yes, that's nice.
Manatee.
Hey, Shelby.
Hey, Shelby.
Welcome back. All right. So let's get back in here. So his brother Dan had also been excommunicated from the Mormon Church. And I'm just going to put it out here right now. We are not talking negatively about any specific religion. We're just stating facts of things that happened. Okay?
And I'm going to make jokes. I did create religion.
You're going to get us kicked off.
Oh.
Facebook.
Out of all the brutal murderers murderers that we've talked about, I'm sure we haven't gotten kicked off.
We're doing great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I walked, actually my meat bag walked 10 miles today. So,
well, I walked 500 miles and I would walk 500 more. Okay. What?
All right. So let's get back into this because I feel like we just lost where we were. Luckily, I'd only read one sentence in 8 minutes.
Wait a second. We're at 1 sentence in 8 minutes. We're going to be done with this episode in 2 weeks.
So Ron Lafferty was a self-professed prophet who, after being excommunicated from the Mormon Church, started a fundamentalist splinter group called the School of Prophets with his 5 brothers. This is according to True Crime Daily. So his brother Dan had also been excommunicated from the Mormon Church. Both Ron and Dan's religious views were evolving into radicalism, including wanting to go back to the Mormon Church's previous practice of polygamy. The church banned plural marriage in 1890 per the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And at this time, it was 1983.
It was the hard rock in 80s, guys.
So Dan's daughter, Rebecca Lafferty, was 7 at the time that the School of Prophets came to be. And she describes in an interview with True Crime Daily, the School of Prophets was a cult. I remember them bringing in a pulpit and speaking in our home, and it was very hush-hush and just weird.
So did they actually bring a pulpit into their home?
Yes.
Like, isn't a pulpit like an actual stand?
Hazel.
And they brought that and set it up in the home.
Hey, yeah, I know. Yes. Oh. It's not that hard. They're very small. They're about this big, that tall from the ground.
Did you go this big?
Anyway.
What is it? Let's go.
1 sentence in 10 minutes.
You're lucky you got that.
Apparently. So the newly formed small group would naturally be polygamous, but 3 of the brothers, including Ron, were already married, and those wives were not interested in being co-wives. Okay?
I love the term co-wives.
Well,
I'm
that's
sorry.
A proper term. So according to what Rebecca told True Crime Daily, a brother named Alan was married to a woman named Brenda, who was a college-educated woman and very outspoken. She had been visiting with the other wives, telling them, there are options, you have choices.
You know, what I had set up when it came to polygamy, when I originally invented it back in, 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
It was set up to be like management. You had managers, assistant managers, supervisors, shift leaders.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's
okay.
It works better that way when you run it like run polygamy like a corporation.
Can I continue? Jesus. Okay, so In the end, Brenda, who was Alan's wife, she actually ended up staying with Alan, even though she was telling all the other wives that they have an out.
The first Karen ever.
And so, but Ron Lafferty and Dan, both of their wives left them and they got divorced. So Brenda did remain a devout member of the Mormon Church and did not agree with her brother-in-law's religious views and rejected the idea that Ron was a prophet. Like, there was no reason for her to believe this. We're making you laugh. Good.
I hope so.
So, and this part is according to the Salt Lake Tribune. So, here's where it gets a little bit dicey. Ron Lafferty said, as a prophet, that God told him to kill his sister-in-law and niece. So, I'm pretty sure this is Brenda. Mormons believe that God communicates directly with members of the church in what they call revelations. So, while anyone can get a revelation having to do with their personal situation, revelations having to do with the church only come through prophets, according to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Do they profit from those revelations?
No.
I'm just...
Maybe, because most churches do. But, okay, so in Ron Lafferty's mind, he was a prophet. Now, the church did not recognize him as such. But his brothers agreed with him that he was a prophet. So when he received what he said was a revelation, his brothers supported him, even if it meant murdering 4 people.
Should have went with the devil. I mean, I would have been his area manager.
Well, this included Brenda and her daughter. So Alan's 15-month-old daughter, Erica, and Brenda, his wife. He used a pencil to write the revelation on a piece of yellow legal paper.
I'm sorry.
You laughed so loud nobody could hear what I said.
Oh, sorry.
He used a pencil to write the revelation down on a piece of yellow legal paper.
Let's say that one more time. He used a pencil to write down his prophecy on yellow legal paper. On a yellow legal pad.
Yeah, and this is according to the Chicago Tribune, by the way. It said, "Thus saith the Lord unto my servants the prophets, it is my will and commandment that ye remove the following individuals in order that my work might go forward. For truly they have become obstacles in my path, and I will not allow my work to be stopped."
Well, that's not exactly what I told him. I said, you should fire these people. Do not murder them.
He took it as set them on fire, probably. But he went a completely different direction with it.
Yeah, they always do.
We're not done here. We're not done. First, thy brother's wife, Brenda, and her baby.
I like how he keeps saying ye. He puts ye and thy, and then just keeps speaking regularly after that.
Then Chloe Lowe, and then Richard Stowe. Is it because they rhymed?
Richard Stowe?
Yeah.
Did he rhyme right there?
Yeah. Then Chloe Lowe, and then Richard Stowe.
Well, it was 1983. It was when rap started getting big. So.
And it is my will that they be removed in rapid succession, and that an example be made of them in order that others might see the fate of those who fight against the true saints of God.
Well, yeah, you have within corporations and management, you do eventually have to clean house and stuff like that, but not murder.
Yeah.
Don't murder.
Yeah, absolutely. So according to the Chicago Tribune's reporting, Alan testified in court he would do it himself if he received that same revelation. He had also said that he hoped Ron was absolutely sure that that's what God wanted, but decided not to mention it to Brenda, saying, "I did not want her to worry."
Hey, buddy, I've been following you for a minute here, and I was waiting for my revelations. I haven't got my revelations yet. So I'm
just going to stay quiet about it.
What's going on here? I'm just saying, I'd like to have a revelation too.
So it was Dan and Ron that went to Brenda and Alan's home on July 24th, 1984, according to the Salt Lake Tribune. They beat her and strangled her with vacuum cord and then slit her throat.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Then they sliced the throat of the baby niece, Erica, who was, again, only 15 months old. Per the Salt Lake Tribune, the 15-month-old was murdered because, according to court documents, Ron believed that she would grow up to be just as despicable as her mother.
Wow.
15 months. Yeah, this guy's a real prophet,
This guy
right?
deserves a pineapple up the ass a day. Or multiple times a day.
Giant pineapple up the ass. So, all the while, two hitchhikers who had similar fundamentalist beliefs as the Lafferty brothers were waiting in the car. The Salt Lake City Tribune stated the next group went to continue to fulfill their perceived message from God. But Chloe Lowe, a friend of Ron's ex-wife, wasn't home. Then they missed the turn to Richard Stowe's house, who Ron held responsible for his excommunication from the church. Instead of killing Lowe and Stowe, the men went to Nevada.
Hey,
we couldn't find these people. Let's go to Vegas.
Let's go do some blow. Fuck this. Fuck this noise.
So the hitchhikers took off to Cheyenne, Wyoming, but were arrested on July 30th. Ron and Dan Lafferty were arrested in Reno on August 17th, 1984, according to the Salt Lake Tribune. I'm going to stop saying that. All four men were charged with 2 counts, each of criminal homicide, conspiracy to commit homicide, and aggravated burglary.
Mm-hmm.
Brenda was buried holding Erica on her chest.
Wait, did they actually? They buried her.
No.
Holding. Okay. They buried her child and.
Yes.
Okay.
So look, it's the Angel of Moroni.
Yeah, I had to talk with him once.
So
hey, go take these gold discs, put them out in the desert.
While awaiting trial, Ron Lafferty attempted suicide by hanging in the Utah County Jail. In the meantime, Dan was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Ron's trial was more complicated. Several psychiatrists and psychologists said he had a severe mental illness, but he understood the murders he committed were illegal. So even if he did have a mental illness, if he understood, he could be tried.
Yeah, he understood what he did. He did try to hide it, so...
Absolutely.
Didn't hide the prophecy, though. Wrote that on legal pad.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Okay, cool. Whew! I saw a picture of Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart hugging, and I thought that I had lost half my notes.
Martha Stewart is more gangster than Snoop Dogg.
Look. Okay, so let's go back here. The two hitchhikers, Charles Carnes, a.k.a. Chip, and Richard Knapp, a.k.a. Ricky, testified against the Lafferty brothers, saying in court that in the car after the murders, Ron pulled a knife out of his boot and said, "I killed her. I killed her. I killed the bitch. Wow. I can't believe I killed her." Yeah, well, sounds really Christian, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So then Carnes said he handed the knife to Ron and said, "Thank you, brother, for doing the baby, because I don't think I had it in me." Dan said, "It was no problem." Yeah, these guys are pure evil.
Exactly.
Ron was sentenced to death, but then that sentence was overturned only to be handed down again in a second trial. After Ron Lafferty, who was slated to die by firing squad in 2020.
They still have firing squad?
Yeah. However, Ron Lafferty, who was slated to be killed by firing squad in 2020, died of natural causes in 2019 at the age of 78. So he had a nice, ripe, old life that he didn't freaking deserve.
Firing squad was way too good for this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, way too good.
Hi, Joey. Hey, Joey. I know. It's absolutely horrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is why I did the trigger warning, guys. Sorry. I know it's a little brutal. So according to what Brenda's father, Jim Wright, a former bishop of the Mormon Church, told KUTV in 2019, he has visited the graves of his daughter and granddaughter almost every week since they were killed. Wow. He said they laid Erica on Brenda's chest like she was holding her, and I do find comfort here.
All because she was saying, "Look, guys,
this doesn't seem right.
This isn't right."
Yeah. If you believe in what they believe in, this is all blasphemy. Mm-hmm. This is not okay. So we're gonna get into. Oh.
You want to get into that? What does the Bible say about?
No, I didn't say. No.
Okay.
I have to get into something else here because I totally missed like half of my notes and we're only at 20 minutes. So I am going to talk a little bit about no, I'm not going to. You know what, guys? Give me a minute. I'm going to grab something really fast.
Let's just play a commercial real quick.
Yeah, I have to grab something.
Well, I know you got to grab something.
Stop it.
This is Mikey from Out of the Ordinary, and you're watching PBDC TV.
First thing in the morning, when I'm listening to music and getting a little bit of time for some creepy research, I'm always representing with my PBDC merch. What a better way to have a cup of coffee in the morning.
Don't forget to check out our other cool merch at rootsbleedred.com. That's rootsbleedred.com.
This is Professor Edgar Fluffosaurus from Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat, and when I'm not hosting Monster Chat or knocking down small Japanese cities, I'm watching PBDC TV. Now back to the show.
Technical crisis averted! Okay, so I found my stuff. So we're going to talk about Utah versus Lafferty. So this was a murder case in Utah when we're talking about the deaths of Brenda and Erica, who was the wife and daughter of Alan Lafferty, which was one of Ron Lafferty's brothers. And they were supposed to be caused as a result of divine revelation.
It's always that. That's always the excuse.
Right?
I heard voices. Now I'm going to murder.
Hey, Richard.
Hey,
how
Richard.
are you? So, here we go. Ron Lafferty, I'm just going to kind of go through everything we went through, just like notes, like little tiny bit of it, so we're back on track. So Ron Lafferty and his younger brother Dan were charged with the throat-slashing homicides of their sister-in-law Brenda Lafferty and her 5-month-old daughter Erica, and this occurred on July 24th, 1984. Ron, a self-proclaimed prophet, claimed to have received a revelation from God in which he was instructed to remove several people, including the two victims. Now, I wanted to make note that apparently Brenda was just in his way. And same with Chloe Lowe and gosh, I forgot his name now. Stowe, Richard Stowe, I think his name was. Mm-hmm. And he blamed Stowe for himself being excommunicated. And I can't remember what Chloe had done with it. I totally just read it.
Basically, this guy just kept making the excuse. I heard voices, and I need to kill these people because they made me mad.
Yeah, basically. So attorney Michael Esplin and Gary Waite were appointed to serve as standby counsel for the brothers when they were charged with homicide in August of '84. They represented the brothers during their competency hearings at the conclusion of the competency evaluations and while incarcerated in the Utah jail. Ron Lafferty attempted suicide in December of '84, and this resulted in severe injury and mental damages. Following the suicide attempt, Ron was held at the Utah State Hospital for several months. So let's talk a little bit about Dan's case. Dan Lafferty represented himself during the trial.
Right there.
Which never works.
That's the smartest move any of them can do. Because they really believe that when you have that ego.
It's narcissism.
It's narcissism right there.
It's straight up narcissism.
I know that word's being tossed around a lot lately.
Yeah, there's a certain red person.
Well, that's straight up ego right there. That literally is like thinking I'm smarter than everyone else and I'm going to get out of this. No, you're not.
I mean, Ted Bundy did that.
Oh yeah, Ted Bundy was a total fuck up when he did it too.
The changing of the voices.
The best
part is there were two of them, Rodney Alcala and Ted Bundy. Both represented themselves, and they both did the
Ted Bundy.
So tell me a little about. Well, let me tell you.
Ted Bundy literally had a way out, and he messed it all up
by
representing himself. If he actually got a real lawyer, they would have saw what the sheriffs did at the time and was like, no, we're gonna get this guy out of here because I think it was like they didn't Miranderize him or something like that.
But he was like, hey, I went to like a year of law school. I got this.
I work for the suicide hotline. I can get this done. Ted Bundy worked for the suicide hotline.
Yeah, I know.
That's
and he saved several people.
He actually saved people.
I went really Italian there.
Well,
I'm all.
If he saved as many people as he
did, it balance?
Does that? No, it
actually never balances.
Right
We're joking. So he did have access. Dan Lafferty did have access to standby counsel, but he didn't utilize it.
No.
The jury trial resulted in a guilty verdict, of course.
When you have people like this, it's actually good that their ego, their narcissism just gets in the way and they're like, okay,
yeah,
all right, I'm going to go over here and just sit back and let them convict themselves.
Mm-hmm. So he was sentenced to 2 life sentences that needed to be served concurrently without the possibility of parole.
When your sentence is life with no parole, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter.
Esplin and Waite appealed the case to the Utah Supreme Court. And they were like, really? You think this is going to work? No.
Wait, say that again one more time.
So the standby counsel, Esplin and Waite, they actually appealed the verdict, the guilty verdict, to the Supreme Court in Utah.
Yeah.
And they were like, you really think that we're going to overturn this? No.
That is a process, though. Most states, it's like, 3 appeals. Been they're done. Excuse me. Oh, you're welcome.
I'm glad we can help with that.
Because these lawyers, though, the standby lawyers and stuff like that, if they don't represent them and
they can get in trouble. They can
lose their disbarred and all that stuff. They have no choice but to do it.
Yeah. It's just funny because they're like, you're joking, right?
Most cases, when it comes to like murder cases and stuff like that, especially with like serial killers or people like this, the lawyer's job isn't so much to keep them or get them out. It's that they all know they did it.
Well, it's mostly to get the best deal.
It's to get them away. It's to keep them alive.
Yeah.
You know, it's just to keep them away from the death penalty. That's it. Or in states where there's no death penalty, it's like you just said right now, it's to keep them alive and get them a better deal.
Yeah. I mean, it's always to get them a better deal, really.
Yeah.
So Ron Lafferty was found competent after going through a series of psychiatrists and psychologists. And he was found competent to stand trial by doctors in the Utah State Hospital after he tried to kill himself. And he got a little bit of one too many hit with the snake, damage.
You got hit with a snake?
No.
Someone beat him with a snake?
Aladdin reference.
I know.
The United States Supreme Court rejected any further appeal.
Someone beat him with a dick?
I hope they did.
Probably.
So the U.S. District Court of Utah upheld the conviction, of course. And the 10th, by the way, he was found guilty. I don't know why I didn't mention that earlier. He was found guilty.
What?
And he was sentenced to death. So he was tried in 85, convicted, and sentenced to death. And the penalty was upheld after an appeal in the Utah Supreme Court. And the United States Supreme Court rejected any further appeal.
Yeah.
The U.S. District Court for Utah upheld the conviction. However, the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals overturned the lower court's verdict and reversed the conviction, finding that the state and the lower court judge had committed error in finding Ron competent to stand trial. So the state of Utah filed an appeal with the United States Supreme Court, which was turned down.
Oh, so that's how they...
That's why he got charged twice.
Yeah.
And that's how it wasn't double jeopardy.
Well, it's like we were talking about on this is what should happen with Carla Homolka right here. They actually should have been like, no, we found these tapes. We're going to try you again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But that's not our country, so It's different. So Ron was remanded to the 4th District Court of Utah so he could undergo more competency proceedings. God, why is that so hard to say tonight? Proceedings, and was found incompetent to stand trial and sent to the Utah State Hospital for treatment again. So 3 years later, a court found that his competency was restored. And in 1996, he was retried again for these crimes.
Well, the thing is, if he did try to hang himself, and it sounds like they actually came in and found him.
Yeah.
And they were saying that he had basically he had permanent brain damage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's almost like they were like being like, oh my God, look, he's not competent. It's like, no, he was competent prior to that.
He was competent at the time, so you should take that into account. It's not.
In order for him to avoid any jail time like that, he would have practically have to be a vegetable.
Yeah.
That's the only way that he's just going to live his life in the hospital.
And the funny part is, it seems like that was kind of what he was trying to do. But that doesn't seem like a good life.
No, it really sounds like a security or a CEO came in and was like, buddy, no. You're gonna go through this. I don't care. We're gonna get you out of here, and you're gonna be stuck in jail, and you're gonna die by firing squad.
So, after a 3-week trial, Ron was again found guilty of a capital offense and sentenced to death. So, further appeals to the Supreme Court of Utah and the U.S. Supreme Court were denied.
Just hold up that legal pad right there.
Yep.
We have your handwriting right here and your prophecy that the voices in your head told you about.
Mm-hmm. So on August 12th, 2019, the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals refused to hear Ron's case by a unanimous decision. They're sitting here going, dude, you were found guilty in 85. You were found guilty again in 96. There is no reason why you shouldn't have been put to death already.
Well, especially with Utah. They're roughly like Texas. Once it's all done, it's fast-tracked right there.
So, Judge Mary Beck Briscoe wrote, Lafferty has failed to make this showing with respect to any of the 4 claims on which he seeks a COA, which is Certificate of Appealability.
Huh.
The court's decision gave Ron few options left to appeal his execution. Ron elected to be executed by firing. He requested to be executed by firing squad.
Well, it's the quickest death. It is the quickest death.
It fucks up the people who do it.
I don't know.
It does.
Well, it does, but because of how they do it. They don't know which one has the round, and they're all aiming for the head and stuff like that, or vital organs.
Yeah.
And it is messed up that way, but it's also like I said, it's a quick death. I
think I would feel bad.
Oh, I wouldn't feel bad one bit. This guy deserved it.
Maybe that makes me a little messed up, but I don't think I'd feel bad.
Well,
anyway.
Uh-oh.
I mean, according to some people, I might be a sociopath, right?
Oh my God, I'm a narcissist.
Oh my God.
I
Anyway.
mean, I am a demon. I do love myself.
So,
When I think about myself, I touch myself.
so after all these appeals and requests for stay of execution and requests to be killed by firing squad and all of this shit, right? Ron Lafferty got to die of natural causes in prison at the ripe old age of 78 on November 11th, 2019. This bastard got to live his entire life, even if it was in prison.
Well,
he got to live.
You got to understand, though, living on death row isn't. It's not fun because you are isolated from everybody.
I'm sorry, I had to pull this up. So I would get the stormtroopers firing squad. They would miss or just wound me.
Yeah, living on death row is not a fun thing because a lot of people think because you're isolated, you're away from Gen Pop and stuff like that, you're not going to have a bad time. Actually, you have one of the worst times. Look at Damien Eccles. Damien Eccles had.
Well, he was getting malaria over and over.
Well, he technically just had malaria and just kept getting bit.
Sick.
So much mosquitoes on the walls and all this other stuff, and it's.
But wouldn't they treat him and then he'd get
no,
it again?
they treated
just left him untreated.
They treated him enough to keep him alive. His teeth were permanently messed up.
Oh.
Everything else, so it wasn't a fun vacation for this guy. But the waiting for the bullet to the head, it's just I don't know.
So, if you want to learn a little bit more about this, there is a book by John Krakauer called Under the Banner of Heaven, A Story of Violent Faith. It's a nonfiction book. It was published in July of 2003, and he investigated and juxtaposed two stories, the origin and evolution of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and a modern double murder committed in the name of God by brothers Ron and Dan Lafferty, who subscribed to a fundamentalist version, which was not actually a version of Mormonism. So it was their own version, really. So we already talked about how they were former members of a very small splinter group called the School of Prophets.
Well, didn't they make that? That was their thing.
They kind of did, but also Robert C. Crossfield was a prophet of the School of Prophets.
And now they even excommunicated.
He went by the name of Onias.
Didn't they even excommunicate the Laffertys too from
two of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, two of them. So, and it was Ron and Dan.
Yeah.
So the group accepts many of the beliefs of the original LDS church at the time when it was, it ceased. We mentioned before, it ceased to practice polygamy in 1890, but the fundamentalists wanted polygamy back. And as we said before, Brenda did not. And that's why Brenda was in the way.
The crazy thing is just go get some groovy chicks to be with, man. That's all you got to do. It's not complicated, especially in the 80s.
I do want to mention that as of June of last year, a limited series based on the book is in development, and it's going to be streaming on Hulu. I actually am interested to read that.
Yeah, to watch that.
So we talked about how they were murdered. We talked about the extremism and the fundamentalism and the just all around craziness that ensued.
I think we pretty much covered most of it.
Well, I was going to talk about a little bit so after there is a little bit of Mormon history we can touch base on. And basically with the Lafferty case, Krakauer, explores the history of Mormonism in his book. And he starts with talking about Joseph Smith. He talks about the LDS Church and the movement. He follows the life from a criminal fraud trial that was also in Jackson County, Missouri, and Nauvoo, Illinois.
It's very much a Star Wars
and it really does go into the various offshoots that have happened from the Mormon Church, and this happens with Christianity. This happens with all kinds of things.
The LDS, when it initially started out, it wasn't accepted or anything like that in the States, and it was actually a very violent start to the LDS. Mm-hmm. And with what was his name, Joseph Smith. everything. It was more like trial and error and like that. They didn't. The whole thing with not being able to drink alcohol, caffeine, and stuff like that really came from Joseph Smith's wife, because when they would have meetings and stuff like that, they would party.
Yeah.
And then they came down and was like, no more alcohol, no more. And then we had a prophecy. That's literally what happened. Then Joseph Smith died. And then you had Brigham Young.
Brigham Young,
who was a terrible person. I'm sorry.
well, so like,
but LDS members today, a lot of the Mormons, a lot of the people I went to school with, families and stuff like that, they are very
nice people,
nice and kind and caring people. They're
absolutely
from the history that they started with to where they are now, they have come a long way.
I mean, if you want to really dig into something interesting, look up white salamander prophecies. I'm not going to get into that right now because that's something we could do another day.
Yeah.
But white salamander prophecies was a very interesting one. It involves murder, and it involves forgery, which is pretty interesting because this guy was a master forger.
But after everything, Joseph Smith ended up in Utah. Everyone knows this. That's where he got the golden disc and whatnot. And
actually, yeah, he did. But he died in 1844.
And that's when
a mob shot him, right?
Yeah, or hung him or shot him or something like that. They came after him.
Oh, they were pulling him from a jail in Carthage, Illinois, where he was awaiting trial for destroying the printing press of a local publication which portrayed him in a negative light. And a mob came after him while he was in jail.
Oh yeah.
And they shot him to death.
Well, this was the West. This is what happened. If this is the whole purpose of the sheriff was there to make sure the person they captured was there to stand trial, and the mobs didn't get him.
Yeah. So from that point in Nauvoo, the Mormons actually trekked westward to modern day Utah, and this was led by Brigham Young.
Yeah.
And
oh no, you're right. Yeah. Joseph Smith, it wasn't the desert. It was he went out to the woods. Basically, Joseph Smith was a grave robber.
Well,
he went to all these funeral mounds and stuff like that and found treasure and stuff like that.
But that's also when the angel Moroni came and gave him his message.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I messed up. He didn't see it in Utah. It was like the woods or wherever he was at.
I think it was either in Missouri or Illinois. Yeah. I can't remember. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm butchering this, but this is not meant for disrespect. This is just stating what we know and what we've read.
If you really look into the Mormon history is very interesting.
It is. It's absolutely interesting. So many Mormons believed they would be left alone by the United States government, and as the territory was then part of Mexico.
Yes, Utah.
And
Utah wasn't, I don't think. Was
soon,
it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. So soon after they arrived, the Mexican-American War occurred, with Mexico getting defeated. So under the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which was signed on February 2nd, 1848, this land, California and the Southwest, were seceded to the United States. So this included Utah. Smith's highly controversial revelation of plural marriage threatened to split apart some followers. So there were people that were all for polygamy, and there were some that were not. So the Utah Territory was a theocracy ruled by Brigham Young at this point, where polygamy thrived for 43 years. But on September 23rd, 1890, Wilford Woodruff, who was the fourth president of the LDS Church, officially banned the practice of polygamy. And this is where we loop back around into Ron Lafferty.
Yeah. Mikey says, Ooga booga.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah, the guys that created South Park are Mormon.
No, they're not.
Or they were raised Mormon.
They were around Mormons. They were raised Mormon.
They were raised Mormon.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone, and yeah, they encountered a lot. That's why you're right. You are right, Richard Nettle, with that. They satire. They satire a lot because of that. Obviously, they satire a lot. Everyone's seen South Park.
Wilford Brimley.
Yeah.
Diabetes.
The diabetes kitty's the best.
I still like that. What was it, Lizzo thing? I just took a DNA test and I found I've had diabetes for 20 years.
Diabetes.
Sorry, guys. If you like Lizzo, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to insult her. That was just a funny ass meme. So Actually, there was the Woodruff Manifesto, where they broke away from the mainstream church and formed the FLDS, which was another popular group of fundamentalists. And
Sorry.
this encouraged polygamy.
We're the fun
And-
Latter-day Saints. We're the groovy Latter-day Saints.
Well, it sounds like it. They liked polygamy. So again, this kind of lent to what Ron Lafferty and Dan Lafferty and the rest of the brothers, even Alan, were trying to lean towards.
Mhm.
It was leaning towards the fundamentalist version, which is the FLDS.
The FLDS is another story in its own. I want to say that there was a lot of pedophilia and stuff like that involved in it too.
There was.
And it was very messed up. Very, very bad.
So, talking about, there's some more comparisons in this book. We're talking about this book still. So, Krakauer actually examined events in LDS history and compared them to modern day FLDS. So again, we're talking about the Mountain Meadows Massacre, the Baker Fancher Party, and even the death of John D. Lee. He was convicted and executed by the state for his role in, I believe, that Mountain Meadows Massacre.
Mm-hmm.
And we can get into that a little bit later too. I just kind of wanted to touch base on all of this stuff because it all leans back to this guy claiming to be a prophet just so he could kill his sister-in-law.
That's aside from the murder, there's a lot of people who claim to be prophets from
To get away with a bunch of shit.
prophets of God to take control and stuff.
Oh yeah, and we're going to talk about a lot of them.
Yep.
This was a little bit of a shorter episode just because, let's face it, I messed up on the notes.
It's fine.
But
we recovered pretty well.
We had fun with it. We did. We had fun with it.
Well, the actual, like I said before, the actual Mormon history is very, very interesting. In how
it really
it came about, regardless of how you feel about the religion or not. The history of it is pretty in depth, and it's pretty crazy.
I do want to mention, because we did touch base on somebody's religion, that in no way are we talking negatively about a religion. In no way are we discounting anybody's faith.
Unless you're a Scientologist.
Oh, stop it.
I'm just kidding.
Even if you're a Scientologist, we do not discriminate based off of faith. We do not discriminate based off of personal values, unless you're the person trying to put voodoo on us. That person we don't like. But that's a different story. But we will not discriminate against you for your sexual orientation, your race, your religious preference, any of that stuff.
No.
All of you guys are welcome here. And honestly, if we are talking about a religion in this kind of form and you get offended, please mention it. Please correct me.
Calvin, don't be a skunt.
And guys,
don't be
a skunt. Thank you.
Because
thank you, Shelby.
We will find a way to profit off
your skuntiness.
Yeah,
but I do want to mention that again. We do not ever discriminate against you for any of your beliefs or any of that. What?
Nothing. All right,
guys. Well, we're ending about 10 minutes earlier than normal. Technically, sometimes 40 minutes earlier, because sometimes we go a lot over.
Yeah.
So we're making up for it tonight.
We have like we said, this is our series starting on cult, and then Fridays, Frank and Liz are doing the cult series on
not cult on Friday.
I didn't say that. I said they're doing a series on
it's
people who've made it out of prison, serial killers and stuff like that who've made it out of prison.
Yora, I think, is who we're talking about next. Or who they're talking about next, I should say. I don't know. I'm not good at this crap. You know what? I am my character. My character is me. They're not separate.
Oh, right.
Yuha.
Oh, they don't. Never mind.
Valyakala.
Has voting stopped?
So, voting has stopped. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good night too.
You.
So, I do want to mention that
Dizzy will be in the
voting has stopped for Sykes. But Dizzy is going to be in the SAS coming up soon. I'm just not sure which group we will.
We don't know what group it is. He'll let us know or whatnot or we'll jam over there.
We'll find out.
Watch it.
And so make sure you guys go to scurryface.com and vote for the Nightmare Clowns. This is going to be Disaster, okay? His name is Disaster. We will tell you what group he is after we go watch the SAS announcements.
Dizzy will be this the last group of the clown or the haunt actors.
The first round.
The first round. Everyone is picked now.
Yeah.
After today. So.
Yeah. So this is going to be the last drawing for the first round, and then everybody who has moved forward from this round is going to go obviously in the second round, and it'll continue in the same manner.
Lico, Dizzy, and Sykes, support them.
Yes, the Nightmare Clowns. Make sure to go support them. Make sure to go vote. Remember, you can only vote 4 times a day per person.
Mm-hmm.
And don't spam the votes and stuff like that. You know, don't be a douche, Canoe.
Yep.
The other thing I wanted to mention is head on over to psychobunnydc.com and psychomantium13.com. We got awesome new merch. I'm going to show it off again. We have Psychic and Full of Voodoo. And we also have some more merch like Don't Be a Skunt coming out.
We got all that commercial up here.
And we do have it on commercial.
So.
Also, go ahead and check out the the sales that we're doing, that the money will be donated to my personal friend, Lauren. She is struggling right now with cancer and fighting her ass off and doing a great job at it. But it's difficult and it's expensive and it's painful, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you guys can, please support. If you can't financially support, please share. You know, we're never going to say, hey, buy our stuff right now. You have to. But,
well,
you know, if you can buy it, cool.
You should buy our stuff right now.
You should totally buy our stuff. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful night.
Who's that kid? In that booth. His mom told me about one time, and then he tried to get my ass. Who's that kid? What's his name? I think he's selling heroin to the kids with the brains. Excuse me, now I step inside. Mirrors in the net that provide a setting for the drink I ordered.
We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that one way or another.
I don't know, set the world fire. I don't know,